Hello everyone. I am Aditi Atal, and like Madhuri has introduced me, I am a writer and I have written documentary and multiple ad films. And currently, I'm working as an instructional designer, designing courses for international and national universities for children as well. So, I welcome you all to this session, and I hope that I could meet your expectations, what you were expecting from this session, how to write a story. So if there is anything that you would like to mention, if there is anything that you know already about how to write a story, you can raise your hand so that Madhuri can unmute you. And I would like to have this session very interactive because um, to write a story, it's not a big deal, I would say. It's just that you need to have an idea in your mind. And on a daily basis, we tell stories from maybe, of our friends, from our school, of our teachers, and whatnot. So I hope that you would be telling all these stories to your friends, or to your parents, or maybe your cousins and all. So I would like to first know, what do you know about a story, and then we can begin a session, because this is something which I would really like to be interactive. It's not just me who would be speaking about how to write a story and going on and on with that. I would like to know from your guys, what stories are you currently reading in school? Or maybe you're reading a book. So anyone? Raise your hand and Madhuri will unmute you all. Anyone who would like to tell me what stories they are reading in school? Or maybe they are reading a book. And what do they know about a story? Please raise your hand. Otherwise, I would like to call names then. Should I do that? I want to make this session very interactive. Raise your hand. I won't beat you guys. Come on. Someone must be reading a story, right? Am I audible? At least tell me that. Am I audible? Oh, there's a Q&A.
Yes, you are audible.
Yeah. So is there anyone who could answer me? Any writer they know? Any story they are reading? Uh-oh. And how would I be able to continue this session? Madhuri, aren't they going to speak, or you're going to need to unmute them one by one?
Yeah, I have to unmute them, but nobody is raising hand right now. I don't know, maybe like they are waiting for the session. We can do it later. We should begin the session now.
Yeah, sure. We can begin the session. Okay, let me present my screen.
Okay.
Okay. So just give me a second. I have a bunch of prompts. Okay. I need to open that in Chrome, right? Okay. So, okay, let's begin our session with how to write a story. And let me put it here. Okay. My screen was visible, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So first, I wanted to know, it's going to be difficult. Can you see the PPT here?
Yes, we can see the PPT. Can you scroll it? Like we can see the whole PPT if it's working or not.
I think it would be better here because I can operate it.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So what is a story? I wanted to know from you guys, but right now I don't think so you're comfortable with me. or I don't know what is there, but it's okay. Okay, so what is a story? So there are many stories we read, many stories we watch. Maybe, you're watching a cartoon which has an episode and it's a story. Or maybe you're reading a short story of Rabindranath Tagore. So, these are stories, right? Maybe your mom and dad would have told you bedtime stories so that you could sleep on time. So, all these are stories. So, what is a story? So, basically, story is the description of imaginary people and events which is written or told in order to entertain. So, whenever we talk about a story, we imagine certain kind of description or images, right? So if I have a story to tell you right now, that I went for the shopping and I purchased these items. I purchased a pen, a pencil, a sharpener, a scale, a ruler, or a eraser. There are certain kind of images that come into your mind, right? So somebody has written something. Is that so? No. Okay. Yeah. So, a story is basically, if we talk about in a layman language, it is a description of imaginary people and events. You have to build a character. You have to create a character. You talk about people who may not exist in real life. You create imaginary people. You create imaginary events, and sometimes you get inspired, or sometimes you observe someone, and you write, or maybe you even tell to other people that this is the event that I have saw, and you're telling it in the form of a story. So a story is basically a description of imaginary people and events, which is maybe you have written a short story, or maybe you have shown it in the form of graphics or in the form of a video. So this is what a story is. I hope you're getting it. Please, guys, raise your hands so that I could be able to understand that you are actively participating. Thank you, Asifa. Thank you so much. Okay, thank you. Okay, now I think you guys are active. So can I ask you a question? Please raise your hand if I can ask you, so that it could be a very interactive session. And you know what, when you guys would speak, I'm sure you will gonna learn a lot. Okay, now next thing, what is the story is about events or experiences. Maybe you have experienced something, in school. Maybe you won a competition and somebody asks you, how did you win the competition? So you would say that, I've prepared for that. I have done a lot of hard work, and these people have helped me a lot, and you would say events or the experiences that you had throughout the journey. So, a story is about event or experiences. Then it can be fictional or non fictional. So, what is fictional? Fictional means that you have imagined everything from characters to, scenario or set or location, everything. For example, how many of you have watched Harry Potter? Or how many of you have seen? Yeah, five people have raised hands. Very good. So, how many people or how many of you have watched maybe a cartoon, maybe Bheem, maybe Doraemon, right? And so these are fictional. We have the writers have created out of the box, and they didn't get inspired from real life people, because we don't see Harry Potter or those magic wands anywhere, right? Those are imaginary. Now, non-fictional. Non-fictional means something which you have already seen in the real world, right? um for example, it could be a biopic of someone. How many of you watch Hindi movies, Bollywood movies? So I can give you an example. Yeah, okay. So you must have watched what was the movie of Amir Khan? Oh my God. I forgot the name. Okay, but there are many autobiographies. For example, MS Dhoni. How many of you watch cricket? Okay, so MS Dhoni movie came, right? So that character is already there, right? Yeah, Q&A. Okay. Tare Zameen Par, yes, but it is a fictional because, though there are a lot of students, a lot of people who are autistic, but the character that was there was imaginary, right? And yes, somebody has raised hand. If you have any questions that you can write. Yeah, PK. Oh, you guys have watched Bollywood movies as well. Yeah. So PK is a fictional movie, right? Now we are talking about non-fictional movie. So non-fictional movie means there is already a person, and you have inspired from that person's story, and you have created a film, right? So MS Dhoni is there. Then there are other, yes, Super 30 is a non-fictional movie, very good. Then Three Idiots is a fictional movie. Yeah, very good. Dangal, yes, thank you so much, Anuj. Dangal, yes. So Dangal is a non-fictional movie. Queen Elizabeth the Two, yes, of course, it's a non-fictional. It is based on Elizabeth. However, they tell that it's a fictional thing, but obviously they have inspired a bit related to from Queen Elizabeth. Yes, very good. Okay, now next. Okay. Next, a story has a beginning, middle, and an end, but not necessarily in that order. Means sometimes a movie starts with an end. You know, for example, if you have watched Aquilin, then Aquilin started from the end, and now some movies they have beginning, middle, and end properly, but sometimes um, end comes first and then they go in the reverse order, and then there comes a beginning and middle and everything, right? So this comprises of a story. I hope you're getting it right. Now a story should be what? Story should be something that creates an impression on the viewers, right? Means that if it's a good story, then it should the audience should feel good about it. If it's a horror story, then the audience should feel that that fear that should be there by watching a horror movie. And if it's a comedy one, then people should laugh. Otherwise, what kind of a comedy movie it would be, right? So that kind of an impression should be there in the audience or on the viewers. Okay, shall we move on? Now you guys tell me, what is a good story? Any good story that you have heard, any movie that you have watched that was best, is your favorite? You can write it here. Which is your favorite movie? Which is your favorite story? I'm waiting for your answers. You must have seen some movies, or you must have, read some good stories. So what are those? What is the best movie that you have watched? Someone has raised hand, Madhuri. I am not sure whether they want to speak. Okay, your Aman's favorite movie is RRR.
Okay, I'll
Okay.
allow her to speak. 1 minute.
Yeah, it would be Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Oh,
Yeah,
one.
Ankita, you can unmute and speak. Ankita? Hello, Ankita, you are there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Yes,
you
you
can
can
speak.
tell me.
Ma'am, I have heard about Rikki Tikki Tavi,
Okay.
and it was so imaginary story. Like in the garden, one Dazi child was there, and their parents was there. The two Nagin were there in the garden, and they all thinks that they are poisonous, so they thinks we will catch like.
So is it your favorite story?
Yes,
it,
ma'am. It was very imaginary.
it was very imaginary. So you like imaginary stories, right? Something that has fantasy and all. Is that
Yes,
so?
ma'am.
Okay, very good, Ankita. Thank you so much for giving you the answer. And I've got another answers as well. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Money Heist, Tare Zameen Par, The Lion King, and Story You Like Horror Story. Okay, well done. Okay, so what good did you like about those stories? Was it about character? Like Ankita said that, it was about fantasy. She really liked the most. So what in particular you like the most in the movies that you have mentioned? Anyone would like to answer? Frozen. I also like Frozen. I like all the movies that you have mentioned. Frozen. The storyline was very good. Okay. Okay. Anyone else? Storyline, yes. The true fell of some child in. Okay, just give me a second. The character in the movie Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, he was honest to his work. Okay, very nice. So you like the character. I like the Money Heist because it was full of joy and adventurous and thriller and action. I agree. Very good. In Tare Zameen Par. Acha. Okay, Ayu. Okay. Okay. So someone has liked the character. Someone has liked the theme of that movie, that it was adventurous. It had joy, right? And some like the message, for example, in Tare Zameen Par. Some liked the storylines. So yes, when we like all these things, when a writer is able to communicate all these things, that's when a good story would come out. So there are certain kind of elements that are there for writing a good story. So let's see what are those. Okay, so elements of a good story. So a good story comprises of a theme, a character or characters, setting, plot, conflict, point of view, climax, resolution. And we will discuss all these points one by one. Okay. So let's discuss and then we would sum it up later. Now, first thing, the theme. Anyone who could tell me what is the theme of a movie? Anyone who knows about what is a theme? I mean, of a story. Anyone? Okay, I've got an answer. Theme of Money Heist was robbery. Very good, Abhishek. Yes. Very good. So theme is basically a message which a writer intends to communicate by telling the story. Like in case of Money Heist, it was robbery and the writer wanted to tell how those people rob the bank or maybe some other things, right? So that was the main theme. The robbery was the main theme. Now we'll also look at other example. For example, Lord of the Flies. For example, the Lion King. So in let me just minimize this a bit so that you guys could see. Okay. Yeah. So a message which a writer intends to communicate by telling the story, meaning that there would be a certain kind of theme that a writer wants to communicate it to the audience, to the whatever audience it would be there. For example, in Lord of the Flies, human morality was there. Human morality meaning that what is right or what is wrong. There was a lot of conflict. These children were stranded on an island. They had to create their own world and they created it. Some things were bad, some things were good. So on the basis of those things, the theme of the movie was human morality. Now, if we talk about The Lion King, if you watched The Lion King, the theme was family, friends. It had friendship. It had, the family thing, right? Right? Simba was there. If anyone is writing, ma'am, but Money Heist is a series. Oh yeah, of course, Money Heist is a series, but it had a story, right? It had a story. I know it's a web series. So even if you're writing a web series, even if you're writing a short story, even if you're writing a movie, or maybe a poem or whatever it is, there has to be some story, there has to be some theme that you would like to communicate, right? So The Lion King, it had a theme of family, friends. Lord of the Rings, it had Lord of the Flies, it had a theme of human morality. So the first thing, the important thing, whenever you're writing a story, first thing you should be clear with is what could be the theme of your story, right? So next thing is character. Now, when you have decided that, maybe I want to create a movie, or, whenever I want to write a good story, I would like to have a theme of maybe horror, or, maybe comedy. So there would be some characters that you would think of, what comic characters would I bring? Or maybe, it could be adventurous. So which person would be more adventurous, who would be daring to cross any obstacles, right? So now the next thing you need to work on is the character. Okay. So now creation of characters means who appear to be real to the viewers. A writer gives the information about the characters in a story, right? And characterization. So there are two things in the character. One is characterization, and the other thing is, of course, the characters. So characterization means you have taken a character, for example, Iron Man. Now, with physical traits, how he would look, Iron Man, how he would look, what his point of view would be there, how, what kind of a personality he would carry, what kind of thoughts he would have in his mind, is he mischievous? Is he very handsome? Is he very soft-hearted? These are the characteristics that you add in a character, right? Now, there are certain types of characters, which are the common one. So first is protagonist. Do you guys know what is a protagonist? Okay, okay. Hello. Are you guys able to see this character slide? Is it visible to you guys?
I think we can just see how to write a story slide.
Oh, okay. Oh, sorry. I didn't realize this. Should I present my screen again?
Yeah, just check.
No, I didn't know. Oh my God. Okay, is my PPT now visible to you?
Yes, now it is visible.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay. Sorry, all. I didn't realize. Now you can see the change in the slide, right? Madhuri?
Yes.
Okay. Oh my God. Okay, sorry guys. Okay. Okay, now we were talking about the characters. Oh my God, it would have been really boring for you guys to not see all these things, what I've made. Anyways. Okay. Yeah, so you guys know the types of characters? Well, now you can already see on my screen. So let's discuss them one by one. Okay, so first is protagonist. Do you guys know who is a protagonist? Can you all see the screen? The main character in the story. Very good, Anuj. Yes. And who is antagonist? Who is antagonist? Anyone? Antagonist, antagonist. I think it sounded antagonist. Side hero? No, it's not side hero. Um, they are very crucial to the story, as crucial as, protagonist. Villain, yes. Yes, Devansh, yes. Villain. Yes, Anand, villain. Very good. And who is a confidant? Do you know? Or love interest, or, deuteragonist? Okay, now let me tell you. So, okay, so we'll discuss what are the types of characters we have. First is whenever we are writing the story, we try to build certain kind of characters, right? Who would be the good one? Who would be the bad one, right? So first, who would be the good one? Who is the protagonist? So protagonist is someone who is the main character, right? For example, in Iron Man is the main character, right? And in Sherlock Holmes, Sherlock is the main character, right? Now, if we talk about an antagonist, so an antagonist in Sherlock Holmes, Moriarty was an antagonist, right? So he was a villain, right? As you said, he was a villain. He was a bad character. So there has to be someone, that could come across the way of a hero, right? And there should be some character like this. Otherwise, how would you create a story? It would be a plain one. It would be really boring when there would be no conflict. And sometimes the hero itself conflicts himself, or a heroine itself, conflicts herself, but there has to be an antagonist, there has to be a villain to create an interest in a story. Now, next thing is confidant. Confidant is a person on whom you can rely. Maybe it could be your best friend with whom you share all of your um, you know, personal things, whatever you think, whatever you do, everything you share with maybe it could be your best friend, maybe it could be your mother or father or brother or sister or cousins, or, anyone. So any person on whom you can rely, you can trust that, if I will share my personal thing with you, or, my thoughts, or whatever I would like to share with that person, that person will not going to tell it to any other or anyone else, right? So that person is a confidant. a true friend, right? So in Sherlock Holmes, the confidant was Dr. Watson, right? And an Iron Man confidant was Pepper, right? And of course, the love interest also. Pepper was a love interest in Iron Man. Not deuterogonists. Deuterogonists are people, so for example, there are multiple characters in a movie, right? And those characters are also important as the main character or the main hero or the main heroine, right? For example, in Harry Potter, in Harry Potter, Hermione and Ron were deuterogonists, they were equally important as Harry Potter, but they were kind of the second priority, right? So, could you also give me some examples related to protagonist, related to antagonist, related to a confidant, related to a love interest, related to deuteragonist? Anyone? Come on. You all watch a lot of films. In Avatars, in Age of Ultron, the villain is, yes, very good. Now give me some example of protagonists. First, we will talk about protagonists so that I would be able to know that you guys have understood, Okay, I could say Iron Man, of course. And who was the antagonist in that? Captain America, of course, yes. Thor. Now, every Marvel movie character. I got it, Abhishek. Every Marvel movie character. The protagonist is Charlie Bucket, yes, and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, yes. Now, who were the antagonists, Who were those people? The bad people, the villain in the story. Who were those? Any of your favorite stories that you have read? Thanos, yes, in Avengers Endgame. It seems like you're really a Marvel person, Abhishek. Anyone else? I want answers from other people, from other participants as well. You can write your answers here. You can, if you want, you can unmute. Someone has raised hand, Madhuri. Yes, ma'am, big fan of Marvel Studios. I understood.
No, no one has raised.
No, somebody has raised hand. I saw. Any other? Come on. Should I call the name now? Is that so? Or you would like to participate voluntarily? Anurag, Ayush, Ankita, Tejas, Yashvata, Devashish, come on. I want answers from you guys as well. Abhishek has said, wait, ma'am. Antagonist. Who are antagonists? The villain. How many villains do you know? Yes, in Thor, yes. So you guys have understood who is the antagonist, right? Who is confidant? You could write your best friend's name also if you have any confidant, Any best friend, any story that you remember that has a confidant, Okay. Now I want a different example. Enough of all these movies. Now I want a different answer because these have already been mentioned. Best man of the lead, right? Yes. Any person that you think you have come across a story, any friend, love interest. There are so many movies in which you must have seen a love interest, right? Stuart Little, yes. Yes. Okay, I think now we need to move ahead. Oh my God. Oh my God, I didn't recognize. Oh my God, I didn't realize the time. Shit. Okay, Setting. So the another important thing is the setting, right? So setting means if I'll be really quick, then you guys can let me know. But we are running out of time. I didn't realize. Sorry. So setting means you tell the reader where and when the story takes place. Okay. For example, if you think about Marvel movies, or if you think about Harry Potter, the era of those movies are something different. The setting and the time and the place, that is important to your movie. Maybe you are watching a biography of some elder person, so the setting would be maybe 80s or 70s, or maybe you're watching a fantasy movie. So a different kind of, a place would be there all together, right? So, for example, in Cinderella, different kind of a castle was there. For example, in Star Wars, that took place in the space, right? So the story took place in space. So setting is this. Now, plot is the most important thing, right? What would be the plot of the story? So a plot means a series of events to which a writer reveals what is happening, to whom is happening, and why it is happening, right? Um, it means that you have created a storyline. Now there would be certain kind of events that first this thing will happen, the next this will happen. First hero will enter, right, like this. Then a villain would enter, and then they will get into a conflict. They would get into a fight. So these are the events. So this is the plot that you have to decide. uh, small events you have to decide, and then you would build up a story, right? So we won't go in much, into detail in this, because it would be. Okay, I'll just explain you in a brief. So exposition means first you are revealing your characters, then rising action. The story is taking place up. Then there would be a climax where hero and villain are fighting, or maybe Wonder Woman is fighting with the villain, right? So these are the plots that you have decided. So this is the graph that takes place, and then there would be a denouement. Means there would be ending, there would be a conclusion, where the hero would win or where the villain would have won. So this is the plot basically. So there would be some common plots. There would be some, for example, there would be a monster who would come, who would try to kill the protagonist, the hero, the main character. Or there would be a common plot like rags to riches. Maybe, for example, Cinderella, for example, Slumdog Millionaire. These movies were like, the main character was very poor, and then something would have happened with them, and they have got a huge amount of money, and then they have become a rich person, the rich people. So rags to riches. Then there would be a quest. For example, Finding Nemo. Someone would go on a journey to find something. So these are very common plots. Whenever you will read a story, you will be able to judge all these things or pick all these things. Okay, like what could be the plot of this? Is it about maybe a hero overcoming from his fear, or maybe it's about rags to riches, or maybe someone is finding something, or maybe someone is on a voyage, on a journey and then return. For example, Alice in the Wonderland. Okay, anything? Okay, yes, Lance Armstrong. Yes, Spider-Man. Yes, I want to become the king of world. Yes. Okay, now, so these are the four. Now there would be, in a story, there would be a conflict. Conflict means a problem in the story that needs to be resolved, right? So if you're writing a story, or if you're watching a movie, or if you're reading a story, you must have realized that there would be a conflict. There would be something, some problem that the main character wants to solve, right? So, for example, in Star Wars, Darth Vader was there, who was an antagonist, right? And his son Luke Skywalker, he wanted to turn Darth Vader into a good person. He wanted to know what has happened. He was in a quest. He was on his journey. Like what is all this is happening? He wanted to understand his powers. So there would be some conflict that would be there, right? Or for example, um, yes, very good. Anurag. Now, for example, in Cinderella, the conflict was that, you know, her stepmother was very bad, and Cinderella wanted to live a better life. But, you know, she didn't get the opportunity to live a better life. She was sad. You know, there was a conflict. There was this problem in the story that she wanted to come out of from. So, um, this is the kind of a conflict, right? In Tare Zameen Par, like you mentioned, the conflict was that, you know, that Darshan was not able to read properly. You know, his parents was uh, was in a lot of you know, tension that, you know, what this child would going to do when he's going to grow up, right? So the conflict was to make this person who has dyslexia, to make this person to be able to read, because he had that potential. He was a very bright child, right? So that was a conflict. So Amir Khan came into that play, and he solved that problem, and, you know, the story got ended, right? There was a social message that there would be various kind of children, and everyone has you know, different kind of talent that one should look up to and should pursue in career, right? Now there's in Avengers, in Endgame, Avengers was searching Thanos to kill him and save the Earth. Yes, we all know Abhishek. Now let's move ahead with Avengers. Okay, now so point of view. So narrative perspective from which a story is told. For example, a story would be from first person, like this is my story and I am writing a story. Okay. For example, I you know, I would be telling about my day in a form of a story. So whenever I'll write a story, I would write I. Okay. Now, so this is first person story. There would be second person story. For example, I'm talking about Abhishek's story that he really likes Marvel, you know, he really likes to watch Marvel movies, you know, and I would be describing him. Then sometimes there is a third person. So for example, Abhishek and I are discussing about Anurag, okay, or maybe some other participant, for example, Anuj, you know. So this is the third person. So from whose point of view you are telling a story? Sometimes, for example, you know, the learner, the writer, they tell the stories from villain point of views. For example, Joker or Dar. In Dar, Shah Rukh Khan was like the main character. Or, you know, he was an antagonist, but the storyline was somehow that, you know, it was like that his version was playing in the story. Or for example, Bazigar, or for example, Joker, you know, his point of view was there. So sometimes, you know, some stories are not from the protagonist perspective, sometimes they are from antagonist perspective as well. Now next important thing that makes a good story is climax. You know, climax is something which is very important, that high point where, like, you know, you're buckle up, you really you really want to watch what is all happening, you know, how he would conquer that world, you know, how would Harry Potter get to know about Voldemort, you know, how he would beat Voldemort, right? So this is the climax, right? For example, in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, what was the climax? The climax was when he grapples with the murder of his parents, you know, and, you know, test his newfound sorcery skills, where he was able to fly, right, and discovers he has a mortal enemy called Lord Voldemort. So when this section came in the movie, came in the story, we were all buckled up, right? We were all waiting for, you know, what is going to happen now, how it would going to end, right? So this is the climax. So every story has to be, you know, there has to be a climax in every story. You know, it is important, right? Now, resolution. Resolution means the conclusion of the story. For example, in The Lion King, right? In the Lion King, the villain, who was there? Mufasa. What was the name of the villain? I forgot. Who was there? Anyone who could remember? Come on, the Lion King, someone has mentioned, you know. So Simba was there. Simba was, fighting with him, and Scar. Mufasa was his parent. Sorry, Musafa. I think it was, okay, sorry if I have, I think it was Mufasa. Okay. Scar was his uncle, right? So when he was fighting with Scar, we were all eagerly waiting, like, how he would fight, right? And will he be getting the kingdom? This was there, right? We were all waiting to see that. So finally, he got his kingdom back, and everyone was happy. Every animal was happy that finally Simba got the yes, Mufasa was Simba's father and Scar was the villain. Yeah, sorry. So at the end, he got the kingdom, So it was a very cheerful story. It was related to friends and family. So this was the conclusion. This was the resolution, right? So these are the elements that are there in a story. So whenever you want to write a story, just keep all these points in your mind. What are the points? The theme, the characters, the plot, the climax, the resolution, all these points you should keep in mind whenever you're writing a story. Now, next thing is types of stories. For example, there would be an adventurous stories like Lord of the Rings. Then there would be action like all Marvel movies, all DC movies. Then there would be horror like Annabelle. Then fantasy like Harry Potter, Jurassic Park. Thriller like Drishyam. Then mystery like Enola Holmes, which is there on Netflix. You can watch. It is a very good movie. Then romance. So, these are the common types on which stories are made, right? Now, next thing is we will jump onto script writing. Now, how you would write a story. So there are softwares through which you can write a story. Yes, Abhishek. So there are two software which are commonly used in the industry, which you can download and you can write a story. So one is Celtex and the other is Final Draft. Okay. Now we will jump onto script writing. Okay. So what is a script writing? A script can be anything and is subject to changes, modifications, and additions before being finalized. Meaning, you write a script, you write everything, what will be the character, these are the dialogues and everything, right? So this is script writing. Now, there are certain types of scripts. Whenever you're writing a story for a movie, for a film, or maybe for a play, then, there are certain types of script. So for example, first is original. It means that you have created your characters, you have created your settings, your themes, you have your own idea. So it is the original one. Next is adapted script. For example, Amir Khan ke kaun se aai thi there was movie Lal Singh Chaddha. Lal Singh Chaddha was an adapted one. From which movie? From Forrest Gump. So it was an adapted script. The movie was already made, but then they have adapted, they've rewritten it from the Indian point of view, Indian audience point of view, and then the movie came out, right? Then there is a screenplay, which is very important. We won't go into much of a detail because we are running out of time, but I would really like to mention about screenplay because it is really important whenever you're writing a script, whenever you're writing a story. If you want your story if you want to write a play, or maybe you're writing for a commercial, or maybe you're writing for, a film, then screenplay you should know, right? I'll tell you what is the screenplay. Then there is storyboard where you sketches the images that For example, if you want to describe me, then I'm sitting on a chair, there is a table, there is a laptop, so you would sketch it out, and then you would give the details that this is the character, and this would be the dialogue and everything. Now let's Now let's discuss elements for writing a script. So there would be 4 main elements for writing a script. First is scene setting. We have already discussed what would be a scene setting, what would be the location. Maybe it would be a room, maybe it would be a jungle, maybe it would be a hotel, right? Then action means what's physically happening on the screen or stage. For example, if you want to describe me, or for example, if you want to describe yourself, then so what's physically happening on screens? For example, if you want to describe me, then you would be telling that, I'm sitting here, talking while seeing a laptop, right? And dialogue, whatever I'm saying, that would be the dialogue. And then there would be character headings like who is saying it. For example, Abhishek is saying something, or I am saying something, or Anuj is saying something. So these are the 4 elements whenever you're writing a script. Now I'll tell you how to write it. For example, this is from the Jungle Book. Okay, so the scene is of a jungle, of a forest. Then action is that Balu and Mowgli are there. They are seeing something. Then there would be dialogue. So who would be saying that dialogue? Of course, Mowgli, because he's pointing towards something. So he would be saying a dialogue. And then of course, there would be character headings like, Mowgli is saying this. Now, screenplay. The screenplay is a detailed version whenever you're writing a story. You would be writing dialogues in there. You would be describing your characters, that, Aditi is sitting on the chair, and while giving a session, she is, seeing a laptop and communicating with the students. So this is the a piece of, this is the description that you would give in your screenplay, right? And then now, you would describe me that, she has worn a yellow color kurta, she has worn jhunkis, or, she's sitting upright, and, she's looking at the laptop. So these are the details that you would describe of a character. Then you would write action, that she is communicating with the students, right? She's communicating with them online by through laptop, right? Then there would be dialogue that, hi students, I'm Aditi Atal. She has given an introduction. So this would be the dialogue. Okay. So these are the things that you would write in a screenplay. The screenplay largely focus on the action and dialogue. Yahan pe action means, not that dishum action, not the fight. Action means what that character is doing. Okay. And the dialogues are written in the present, whatever, like present tense. Okay. And the dialogues, of course. Now we would look at the example. I'm sharing you an example. Let me know if you would be able to see. Okay, are you guys able to see the screen of the screenplay? Madhuri, is it visible?
Yes, it's visible.
Okay, so this is the format. Don't go much into detail.
Zoom in a bit, like we cannot see it clearly.
Okay. Wait. Now is it visible?
Yes.
Okay, right. So, okay, so how to write a screenplay? Don't get much into detail. We would be discussing it on a superficial level, just the basics so that you guys could understand. So first is that you would write fade in. So fade in means, fade in means whenever a scene starts, you write fade in. Then there is exterior, suburban, home, night. So you are describing what would be the location and the time of day. Okay, so EXT means exterior. Exterior matlab bahar, right? Now, This is the action. What is the character doing? Like slowly see a boy running around the house. We push him closer as we slowly see a boy running around the house. So a character is there and he's running around the house. So this is the action. Now, this is a scene number. If you could see on the right hand side, 1, this is first scene number. Then there would be transition. Transition means there is a second scene. So for that, you would say that cut to. Now the boy is running around the house. Okay, now cut to second scene you wanted to show. So the second is interior of a home. Now they are in the home, in the kitchen, in night. Okay. And then you are writing an action. Then you're writing character's name, Filbert. And then you're writing his dialogue. What is saying? This is my castle. I'm sworn to protect it. Anyone that stands in my way shall bear the wrath of Almighty. Okay, now he is speaking that, this is my castle and anyone would come, he would give him a hard time and something like this. Okay, so you're writing his dialogue. Okay. Then there is parenthetical, means you're describing, you're giving the information on how the actor should say the line. For example, if a horror movie is there, then the actor should have this coarse voice, his voice should be like everyone should be in fear. Or for example, whenever a character is sad, his voice should be low, his sort of voice should be very low, and um, there should be some effect of crying, right? So parenthetical means you're describing that actor on how he should, act, a bit of that information, right? Then subheader. Subheader means, so in that particular scene only, that character is in the hallway. So there would be a subheader that would come. Then there would be intercut. For example, I'm here right now, sitting here, and then in this room only, I would be at some other location. So there would be an intercut, right? And then there would be another transition. Okay, so this is how you write a script. It's okay if you, it's okay if you understood a bit, because this is a bit advanced, but I would like to convey you, because this is a very important part of how you could write a story. Okay, and there is an example I would like to show. But Madhuri, is it possible that can we share the link of that thing? Because it's already 6:04.
Yeah, sure. You can attach it in your PPT because I'm going to share your PPT later with your recording.
Okay. So I've got an interesting example. Yes.
Yeah,
so
you can just share for a minute if you want. Like you can play it for a minute.
Okay. Okay. I want to, I'm not sure. Okay.
We can see your YouTube. You can play.
Yeah. So actually, I wanted to, just give me a second where it is. Oh, actually, I got this Harry Potter screenplay. Could you give me a minute to, open that thing? Just a second. Wait. Okay, so actually I got this Harry Potter screenplay. Now I would like you to, I will give you the link of this. So this is how a script is written. Could you see? There is,
yes, it is visible.
Action, then there are dialogues, then there is setting. So in the whenever you're free, you can actually see the screenplay, how a story is being written, and you can compare it by watching Harry Potter. So let us watch for a few minutes, for just a minute, and then we can see. Is it audible?
Later.
Okay, so this is the
Yeah,
scene.
yeah, it is audible. Aditi, I think we should start the
Yeah.
questionnaire session, and we should
Okay.
just.
Yeah. Okay. Now just a bit that I wanted to add that we have, seen this, and this is exactly the script of, how this has been shown in the movie. So you could actually compare, like, Dumbledore said the dialogue, I should have known you would be here, Professor McGonagall. And then, this action and everything, right? So I will share this link with you so you guys can refer to it, and you could compare like how it was being written and how it came up in the movie. Okay, okay, Q&A. I'm ready. Okay. Is there anything you want to ask?
So, if anybody has any questions, please raise your hand. I can allow you to talk, or you can just post it to Q&A section.
I hope I was able to communicate and you guys were able to learn something from this session, how to write a good story, although it was overloaded, I think. But please remember all the elements for writing a good story. And if you have that interest, then please go ahead with that. Is there any question? Yes, ma'am, no doubts. Wow, everyone understood everything. Great.
You have explained in a manner that everybody knows now
Thank you.
how to write a screenplay. Now they'll become a master of screenplay.
I just hope they become a
Yeah,
very.
yeah. Okay, Aditi, I guess nobody has any questions, so we can just wrap it up now.
Okay, and this is my mail ID. If you guys want to talk about on anything or discuss anything, then you can mail me on my mail ID. if you have any questions. Okay. Thank you all for being. I'm in a story. Who should give a voice pack? What is voice pack? Voice pack? Voice pack as in?
I think they are talking about voiceover.
Yeah, I think voiceover. It can be a narrator. It can be someone, who is narrating the story. For example, in period films, we have seen that, someone else is communicating a story. For example, Amitabh Bachchan is there and he is narrating the story that, this has happened in this era. So there can be voiceover for that, voiceover artist. I hope I was able to answer your question. Okay.
There are a few more questions.
Okay. Where are they? How can we make a screenplay like Never Have I Ever? Okay, you have watched Never Have I Ever? This is a very detailed answer because, you can do a task actually, Devansh, that, whenever you are watching a scene, just take a paper and pencil and, write down the characters that you have seen, write down the dialogues that they have told you, and, the setting and everything. And if you have any doubt, then let me know, I'll guide you. But, in the same way, every screenplay would be written like this. Okay, there would be there would be this, exterior and all, then there would be action. Every screenplay would be like this only. Then there would be dialogues. Then again, if something is changing, that there would be action, and then there would be dialogue. So every screenplay of every movie, whatever movie you're watching, whatever story you are seeing, reading, watching, if you want to convert it into screenplay, this is the format. I hope I was able to answer, Devansh, to your question. Okay. Anything else? Madhuri, anything else?
No, I think they all have asked in everything. I think one person is saying anything. No.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. And I've shared my mail ID. If anything you want to ask, then you can, mail me on this mail ID and I would be happy to answer your questions. And I hope that you have learned something from this session. You have been a wonderful audience. Thank you so much. Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Aditi, for joining this session.
Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Thank you all.
Okay, bye. Take care.
Bye. Take care. Take care all. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody. Bye.